everybody. Welcome back to the Comic-Con Podcast, Season 2, Episode 17. Like always, I'm one of your hosts, Zach, a.k.a. The Manimal, and with me is my good friend, Justin, a.k.a. Nemesis Prime. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy. What's up, man? It's been a while. I feel like we haven't talked in 6 days, maybe.
No, that's not true, right? I mean,
I know.
we
We
text pretty
talk
much
every
the whole
day. We
time.
talk in
Yeah,
the morning,
yeah,
afternoon, whenever there's some comic book news. But
right.
yeah, we haven't seen each other face to face since last recording.
So this is kind of a strange recording, a little early recording. We're actually recording this on April 26th, Tuesday. Um, got some things coming up. I'm going to be out of town, so we tried to get this recording in early so we could get you guys some news. And you'll be listening to this on Friday, most likely. But like I said, we're recording this a little early. So in case something else drops this week and you're wondering why we didn't speak on it, that's why. So um, we do got a pretty interesting show, though, today. We got a bunch of topics that kind of came out right now. It's currently unfolding as of now. We're going to talk about the CinemaCon going on right now and a lot of new news that's being dropped right now. And then, of course, comic book talk like always and what we're currently reading. But I think we're going to start off with an article very close to Justin's heart. It's anime and robots, right?
Hell yeah. So, of course, I'm, you know me, big anime fan. This one's coming over at comicbook.com. So, Robotech, live action movie coming, lands
Mm.
from Hawkeye director. So, of course, through Sony Pictures, because CinemaCon has been going on for the past few days, Sony Pictures has officially announced the live action adaptation of Robotech with the director who did Hawkeye, Ray Thomas. Of course, if you don't know, Robotech was an anime way back in the 80s, like mid 80s, 1985, I think it was. Originally had 85 episodes from the original series. So,
Hmm.
as you know, I'm also a big Gundam fan. So, but unlike Gundam, where they used mankind to use these giant mech suits to battle tons of wars, Robotech saw mankind using alien technology to build these giant robots to combat the extraterrestrial threats. So, kind of like, I guess, Pacific Rim, but more advanced because, of course,
Gotcha.
there's a lot of space battles. There's so much that, regarding this. This was originally announced, the movie was officially announced back in 2017 by Columbia Pictures Production, but unfortunately, it's going a different route, and we actually now have a director being set. So I'm thoroughly thinking this is going to be a really good movie for the simple fact is, Hawkeye was directed very well. There's obviously other live action adaptations currently in the projects over at Sony, but nothing is official. But with this being said, I'm excited to see some live action giant robots fighting you know, killer aliens.
So I don't know anything about Robotech. I'm not a Gundam fan, or I'm not that I'm not a fan. I'm just not. I don't know anything about Gundam. I never was into it or watched anything. But it just kind of seemed like we do live in this cycle where it's like, okay, every couple of years, let's get some big ass robots in here and fight each other, right? So it's like Transformers, Pacific Rim, Robotech. It's definitely a theme that we like as a society, as big ass robots destroying shit. So. Um, I mean, cool. Let me ask you this though, and this is kind of going to be a theme, I'm assuming, of this show today. But what's your opinion on it coming from Sony Pictures? Like, do you have any qualms in terms of Sony based on like the Spider-Man properties?
Uh, yeah, there's definitely issues with that, without a doubt.
Right.
And we're gonna obviously get into that, but yeah, there's definitely issues with these Sony-led movies, and Spider-Man, without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, now I definitely feel like when I see Sony, my initial instinct is kind of like, ugh, okay. Like, and we're going to talk about why coming up here soon. Um, but yeah, dude, I just kind of, and it's not that I guess I just don't, I'm not sure if I really can trust Sony to bring properties to life anymore. Luckily, I'm not too attached to Robotech. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I've watched a lot of the animated movies. I've never sat and watched the full original run for, but to go 85 episodes is a pretty long thing, especially, back in the 80s, a lot of those cartoons like Transformers, GI Joe, like they ran a ton of episodes.
yeah,
Now you're lucky sometimes if like cartoons get maybe 40 episodes sometimes, or
Right.
sometimes maybe
Right.
even like 20 because they're done. Whatever the production value is just too high because they're going with that CGI computer, not like hand drawn stuff. But back in the 80s, man, there was 70s and 80s had crazy good cartoons here in the US, great anime out
Right.
west. So unbelievable. So I'm excited to see this, and I'm really pushing when they're going to announce the Gundam movie coming out.
Yeah. Well, that'll be cool. So, I guess kind of going on the movie news. Why don't you kind of lead us off with CinemaCon in general?
Yeah. So before we get into the Sony pictures and what they have announced and what's going on over there, so obviously, like Zach said, we're currently recording this a little early. So right now, as we are recording this, we are actually checking out all the stuff that's going on with Warner Brothers. So official announcement: the Batman 2 is a go. Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson, they are coming back. During the show, Matt Reeves came out and spoke to everyone, said he thanked everyone for all the support, and as much as it's doing quite well, and even over it on HBO Max, it was number 2 for HBO Max's movies in the first 7 days. The only movie that beat that out was Mortal Kombat, which I
Wow.
don't even think was in theaters, right? Mortal Kombat didn't come.
No, yeah, it didn't come in theaters, but damn,
Yeah.
that's an awesome movie.
Yeah, hell yeah. So other than that, they showed off some additional footage for Shazam, the Flash movie, Aquaman. They did show off a new logo for Blue Beetle. We do have an official time, or I should say date. It's coming out in June 2023. Some other things that maybe people don't care, but of course they announced the Barbie movie, even though we knew that was coming, but they showed off Margot Robbie. And another thing which is really awesome that's coming is a Lord of the Rings animated film. Now, nothing is spoken about this when it's going to be, the time frame, but we are getting more Lord of the Rings other than the Amazon Prime prequel show that's going to be coming out soon. So
For sure.
that's some of the stuff that's going on with Warner Brothers. Of course, all this stuff that you will probably be seeing on Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're following. But we're getting to see it live as we're recording this, which is really awesome. But we wanted to get into the article. Zach, do you want to take on the article for CinemaCon Sony?
Yeah. So okay, wait. So the article I have here is about the one particular character. Is that the one we're talking about?
Well, we can kind of go off of that, but so over at the Hollywood Reporter,
Yeah. Read yours. You
Sony
got the better
unveils the
one.
exclusive footage for a lot of stuff, especially Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse over at CinemaCon. We're also going to get into all of Sony's in-production shows and movies regarding Spider-Man related characters. So, I'll take the first part. Of course, they showed off 15 minutes of Across the Spider-Verse, and you're going to see this, or you're going to read this online. So, the 15-minute I guess preview. It starts off with Gwen Stacy in her universe with her father. Of course, he's the police chief. If you read Spider Gwen, like I have been reading Spider Gwen since the beginning, that's the storyline. Gwen follows and meets up with the Vulture. So I don't know. I'm sure the Vulture is still a villain in that universe. And then we get Miguel O'Hara's Spider Man, of course, Spider Man 2099. We get Spider Woman in there, are introduced from another dimension, and then it skips to a scene where Gwen actually reveals herself to her father as being Spider Woman, which is something that we've also seen in um, in the comics, because of course she's the one. She basically is kind of being arrested as the murder of Peter Parker. Like she's
Hmm.
being, what is it? They say that she's what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Like responsible for it, right? Or
Yeah, so
yeah.
she's responsible for killing Peter Parker, Gwen's father. Then she removes her mask, she reveals his identity, and then that scene kind of cuts. And then the next scene that we get is Miles Morales back in his world, and he's at a parent-teacher meeting at his school, and it kind of fades to black. There's a little bit more, but we're not really going to get too much into it. But it's great because again, we talked about it last year that Spider Woman Jessica Drew was going to be in the movie. Of course, Miguel O'Hara is, because we've seen the trailer, but there's a lot of stuff coming from this movie without a doubt. And the fact that we also talked about it being pushed back to next year is unfortunate, but we're looking to see a lot of stuff coming out next year from Sony.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be big even when the first kind of trailer dropped, and then at the very end it called it part 1, right? And so like it
Hmm.
wasn't just going to be another like uh sequel. It was actually going to be kind of starting this whole bigger event, so to speak, across the Spider Verse. So I actually saw, and I couldn't find the article who that stated it, but it was like it's already like the like long 3 times longer than the original Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or I mean, oh god,
Character wise, yeah.
yes, character
Is that
wise, yeah.
mhm.
So it's cool, man. I mean, like I'm excited to see all these characters show up, and I've never been a big Spider-Man fan, but I really like the original one, and yeah, um, I'm excited to see Oscar Isaac, who's just been crushing it lately. I know I don't want to talk too much about Moon Knight. I'm sure people have certain opinions on Moon Knight, but regardless, Oscar Isaac is an amazing actor. So yeah,
Mhm.
dude, I think it's gonna be good. And of course, you'll see it because you got Haley Steinfeld in it. So,
Yep,
right.
absolutely.
Well, her voice at least. So,
Yeah. So you want to get into, of course, the movies that have been announced and or they have the dates for next year?
yes.
So right now we have Craven the Hunter. That's scheduled to be January 13th, 2023.
Oh, there you go.
Of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is June 2nd of next year. And then they announced the sequel title. It's called Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now it's a little odd. They had it as listed as July 7th of next year, which would be pretty awesome if the movies did come out about a month or two apart. But
That
I
would be
don't,
awesome.
yeah, I think that's going to get moved without a doubt. So, and then they have in 2024, you have Madam Web. And then the newest movie that got announced, there's two movies, one being a third movie and then a new character. So, Zach, what's this new character that Sony is deciding to put in there? There's Spamunk.
Oh man. So I mean, like we've talked about it before. The Sony universe, like, hey, I give them props for trying. Like they're really trying to create their own properties and their own little Spelunk universe and whatnot. I'm sure you guys have heard Justin and I talk about our opinions on Venom being not good. Justin and Newbie did their Morbius trailer or Morbius review, and I didn't actually get to see the whole movie, unfortunately. But it was okay, whatever. It really felt like the original comic book movies that we watched back in what, like, early 2000s.
Mhm.
And then so Craven the Hunter, I mean, awesome character, great character. I'm just bummed out that he's showing up in his solo movie. Like, I want to see Craven the Hunter in like a Spider-Man movie, Madam Web, like, who gives a shit about Madam Web? But this newest character, I don't even know where to start with this. So Bad Bunny to star, which yeah, even saying his name just irritates me. I know everyone loves Bad Bunny, and here in El Paso, he's like an icon. But Bad Bunny to star in Sony's Spider-Man spin-off film El Muerto. So El Muerto is a new character that showed up. What'd you say it was, Justin? Back in 2006, right? Yeah,
2006
2006.
from
From
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 6.
So a masked wrestler whose mystical face covering grants him superpowers. So kind of like a luchador type character. Could be a cool character. I don't really know anything about this character. So I'm not familiar with him, but in terms of his storyline or anything. But um, Bad Bunny, maybe a great musician. I mean, people like him a lot. Not my thing, but I don't know what his acting skills really are like. So I don't know, man. I just feel like these are the characters you're choosing here. Like we could have came up with some better stuff here, and we still haven't got a Sinister Six movie yet, and we're getting like El Muerto movie. Come on, bro. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the
What are your
first
thoughts?
Latino-led uh
Oh,
Marvel
I'm staying
movie.
away from that announcement
Well, I mean, well, technically, it's if Blue Beetle obviously is going to beat that out because Jaime
for
Reyes.
I think it's for Marvel, right?
Yeah,
First
for Marvel,
Latino.
but
Yeah,
for superhero, I'm
yeah.
going with the Blue Beetle,
Well,
with Jaime
last time I
Reyes.
spoke on that, I got eaten alive. So I
You don't
don't.
say.
I'm not touching that claim with a 10-foot pole. But look, dude, like I said, I don't know enough about the character to make any judgment on the character. My only judgment is coming off of Bad Bunny and the fact that Sony's Spider-Man universe kind of sucks as of now. Venom and Morbius is all we've got, right? That's all we're really counting.
Yeah, I mean, they announced Venom 3, which is crazy. Now, they
God.
did not announce if Mr. Hardy would be back, but they did announce that there is a Venom 3 and it is in development. So, as far as when it comes out, I'm saying at earliest probably 2024, if not 2025, and that's a long way away to think about.
So I recently rewatched for the only the second time actually. No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. Right, the first time I saw it was in theaters, and then when it showed up on Amazon Prime, I bought it to watch it, and it's up there. Excuse me, in terms of one of the best MCU films, right? And like nostalgia and just story and the way it all comes together and connects. And then you get to the post-credit scene, and Tom Hardy as Venom showing up is cringe. Like it's just like, oh my god, dude. It just made me angry. Like this is such a great movie, and then we get to the end credit scene, and then I have to see that guy arguing with Venom in like a tiki bar. Like, come on, dude. Like this is garbage, dude. Garbage. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know where to go. Like, it's probably one of it's definitely the worst post credit scene, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And we were kind of talking offline on this, like what's going to be his villain in this next movie? Because keep in mind, Venom's villains in the first two movies have all been symbiotes. So I mean, we can't bring Scream back. I mean, what are you going to do here? What's going to be
It's
the
got to be like
villain?
toxin or anti venom or
Yeah, I mean, because apparently that's all they can come up with. You know,
yeah,
I don't know, man. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not even remotely excited for Venom 3. So
yeah. It's very interesting. I don't know where they're gonna go. You know, again, we talked about it. You know, as much as we don't know about Craven, at least we have a cool villain, right? You know, we have Chameleon.
mhm.
Even though, yeah, he doesn't fit in the mold of Craven, but he's still like a cool character, and I'm sure he's going to be a better villain than they've kind of made, even like for Morbius.
Yeah, they're really following that. I don't know, man. And you know, Marvel has this problem too. We talked about this. That the one bad thing I feel like the MCU does, two bad things, which kind of are the same thing, is their villains are always the same as their hero. It's always some kind of a version of the hero. And
Mm.
then the second thing they do is when they have a good villain, they then make him an anti-hero like Loki, or you know what I mean? And like spin him off like, oh, he's also a good guy, possibly. But I mean, the villains just never seem to be too much different than the heroes, and I don't know. I don't really like it. And that's exactly what the Sony universe is kind of doing as well. Like we said, symbiotes for Venom, and then another vampire monster for Morbius. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I don't know, dude.
Well, we'll have to see. You know, we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, as far as El Muerto, I don't know. I can't see that being. You know, you would think like after Venom, like instead of announcing like this type of movie, you know, obviously we have the Madam Web.
Mhm.
There's still an announcement that there is according to Sony, there's also the untitled female cast into the Spider Verse spin-off movie that's coming. So I'm thinking like obviously Silk, Spider Gwen, Spider Woman in there, maybe like Spider Girl. You know, Silk is also still in development. Black Cat, Silver Sable,
Right.
Jackpot, and Nightwatch are all still in development at Sony. So did you really think you needed, instead of creating this new character, not new, but like making this announcement and already saying that his movie's coming out in 2 years? How about you push one of those other movies? Like push Black Cat. Unless they're
Yeah.
really hoping that she'll be introduced in the next, you know, trilogy of Spider-Man movies, and then we'll get her movie at that point, instead of having her come out and then be in Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. I feel like this movie with El Muerto is. I mean, they are putting a lot of hope on the star power of Bad Bunny because what I mean, no one is invested in the character El Muerto at all.
No.
You know what I mean? So like you're really hoping and Bad Bunny is a massive star in, you know, the musical world. People love him. But only really people who like that kind of music, you know what I mean? It's not like it's like the Beatles where everyone likes him. I don't know, dude. I think that's a risky move in my opinion to put all of it on this one star power. But
Yeah.
hell, I might
Very,
be
very
wrong, man.
odd.
I might be wrong. So
Very, very odd. So I don't know what I don't even know. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna. I don't know who Bad Bunny is. I really
oh
don't.
no? Oh dude, go
No.
download some music.
Okay, I will have to check this out as I'm editing this week's episode. I will have to listen to Bad Bunny in the background.
I listen to Bad Bunny almost every time I go out in El Paso because Bad
Okay.
Bunny plays on a loop here, it feels like.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
So
not here in Jersey. I listen to
oh,
like the
no?
top hits and like
Well,
I'm
that's
on Sirius X, on Sirius XM. I listen to, hits one and whatever the first like 5 to 10 channels, which is all like new stuff. And then I throw, obviously all my rock stuff and podcasts and stuff, but I've never
well,
never
yeah.
seen Bad Bunny pop up.
Bad
So
Bunny's probably not gonna show up on those channels. But don't you
okay.
guys have a large, like, Puerto Rican community up there?
Could be just like
Maybe
in
on your
Newark,
neck of the
but
woods? Yeah.
like yeah, like like Portuguese, not like Puerto Rican, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's like, yeah, pockets in New York and New Jersey, just
Right.
not the music. I'm not turning on, I guess, like would be like Hot 97 or I don't know what else channel that would be on. So,
Reggaeton, something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
I just
yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, I just don't know. And now we're just going off on a tangent of, you know,
Whoever thought we'd be talking about Bad Bunny on the
it's
Comic-Con
like, yeah,
podcast?
every week it's always something new.
Last
I
week it's
can't tell you.
poop,
I
this
gotta wait.
week it's
I gotta give
Bad
a
Bunny.
shout out to the people that contacted me. I had a couple people that contacted me. I love our listeners who said I didn't think that I would ever listen to the Comic Con podcast talking about Amber Heard's poop.
Oh, man, it's the poop heard around the world. It's
And
everywhere. The memes
today,
that are coming out are amazing.
yeah, and today on Court TV, as I was working from home, was some more Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So
We should just do a spotlight episode just recounting the, events of the trial of the century.
yes.
But okay, so moving on. What else do we got?
So this is an interesting article that of course, and not this weekend, but next weekend is Free Comic Book Day. So this is kind of a follow-up story that we talked about. I think it was either the end of last year, if not the beginning of this year, where we talked about the Avengers X-Men #1 Free Comic Book Day and how they're also doing the Spider-Man one.
Mhm.
And we talked about this new character known as Bloodline that they were introducing. Now we didn't know anything about it. We had no idea, and we just kind of a little bit bitch kind of complained that, oh, they're introducing a new character and what's it really going to be? But so Bloodline is Brielle Blade's daughter, which is being released on May 7th. So it's kind of already out there. So of course she's going to be the vampire hunter in the Avengers versus X-Men #1. So that's her first thing. And it's interesting because of course Blade's daughter was supposed to be a new character. God, I think this has got to be going back like 5 years.
Yeah.
They, like, announced it and showed it in previews and solicitations, and it just never came to fruition for whatever reason, but, um, we're getting a new character, and I'm kind of interested in this, but like you say, as always, Zach, why
Mhm.
do they create characters who are the same when they should just create brand new characters, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And you said this comes out in Avengers X-Men #1, right?
Yeah. So May 7th, Free Comic Book Day. Go out there and, hit up all your local comic shops. They obviously have deals and they also have free books. And this was one of the free books for Marvel.
Yeah, and I think what I've heard, rumors are that she's actually gonna end up being a mutant as well. So, yeah, I'm cool with it though. Like, I know kind of what you just said. Like, why don't they just come up with a new character? But like, to be honest, Blade is one of those characters that still hasn't received really like a ton of his own universe, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like his own ancillary characters. So with a character like Blade, I think it's a great dynamic. And especially bringing in someone like a daughter or relative or something, because Blade's whole story comes across the death of his mom and being infected with you know the vampire bite. So to him
Mhm.
actually have kind of like a daughter or something as well kind of brings it full circle. Marvel's been pretty active, even before announcing like the Blade movie. Blade's been around. They've been pushing Blade quite a bit in storylines. I mean, he's one of the mainstay Avengers right now. He was, oh God, what was some of the other storylines recently he was a part of? He's been kind of blasting all across the Marvel titles lately. So
Mhm.
I'm okay
And
with
he's
it.
someone that hasn't changed. And
Right.
he's definitely had someone who hasn't changed in a long time. So I guess like giving him a
Yeah.
family member isn't that bad.
There's not
It's
much
not like
depth to
someone
him.
who's
Yeah.
constantly there.
Yeah, you got to kind of give him something to shake up his status quo a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what I'd like to see him do is, even kind of touch on right now with like the Avengers. He is almost like the sheriff of the sheriff of Vampire Town over in like with Dracula and like Russia. And I believe it's Russian Chernobyl. I think if I'm, gosh, I think if I'm remembering this correctly, Chernobyl is run by the Vampire Nation right now, and Blade is over there as like kind of like the sheriff running it and
Hmm.
sort of like supervising them and making sure they don't like step out of line, which has been really cool, but they haven't really spotlighted that at all. So be interested to see what his daughter's kind of role will be, especially in, and then it's also kind of weird. It's in Avengers versus X-Men. Maybe not so because like I said, he's in the Avengers title right now, but um, and if she's a mutant, obviously there's a huge correlation there between the two. So, but I always like Free Comic Book Day. I've never been a fan of these first appearances though showing up in Free Comic Book Day. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, so obviously it's tough because here it is. Like a lot of times things show up first appearance and then they're there, but it takes years for them to explode. Like
Mhm.
obviously Umbrella Academy, Star Wars Savage Press, Avatar is also first appearance in there. Both avatars like Avatar Airbender and Avatar the Blue People.
The
With other
blue
free
people.
comic book day that's pretty expensive. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Umbrella Academy. Geez, there's some other ones. Oh, General Grievous. Like he's another Star Wars character that first appeared
Mhm.
in those comics. Then at that time they were on the kids side, so nobody cared. But like Marvel and DC, they always put out so many copies that it's never really worth anything when they have a first appearance.
Yeah. So speaking of that, let's kind of just talk about the full lineup of Free Comic Book Day 2022. So obviously Free Comic Book Day is May 7th. You got your gold sponsored titles. I don't think I'm going to read them all, but some of here's the ones like that people might be interested in. Best Archie comic ever. Looks like I have 25 years of Buffy, A Stranger Things. Um, I only know this one, dude, because I just bought this for my nephew. Have you ever heard of Dogman? So my nephew
Um,
just turned 6, 5 or 6, something like that. I'm horrible because I
no,
can't remember.
I do not
But
know
I
who
bought him
Dog
some
is.
set of books called Dog Man, and he loves that. I have no idea what the hell it is, but there's a free comic book day book coming out. You get a TMNT free comic book day. Obviously, you got Spider-Man, Venom. So Marvel seems to be doing these like dual books, and I feel like Spider-Man and Venom have been a free comic book day mainstay for the past couple of years. To be honest with you, what are
Yeah,
some?
I that's the thing. It's either those 2 or Avengers. They don't really
Yeah,
ever go off the beaten path, and
right,
DC's kinda similar, like, it's always kind of like a Batman or the DC startup to, like, a event or the Justice League or Harley
right.
Quinn. There's never, like, those secondary characters that really could probably get like, I feel like this is the perfect time, like, new comic book day, there should be a Doctor Strange. The movie comes out, like, 2
Right.
days prior. Like,
Yeah.
how do you not have a Doctor Strange, like, free comic book day? It's perfect.
Like, look, dude, if people just roam randomly, so free comic book day is kind of designed to getting new people into the hobby, right? So people who are walking in and I'm sure they know who Avengers and Spider-Man are. Like, why don't you try
Mhm.
to engage them? And if they haven't been in the comic book game already knowing about Avengers and Spider-Man, maybe you should try to see about someone else. See something else that appeals to them. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Um, There's some other cool ones though here too. We got the Sonic the Hedgehog by IDW. If you're a Walking Dead fan, the Clementine from Image Comics and Skybound. I'm excited about this one, Nottingham Free Comic Book Day special, which
Oh, that's interesting. A
I'm
nice
loving
preview for the
Nottingham.
next series, I guess?
Yeah,
Or
so
that's
they've
getting
already
extended?
started what issue 6. So
Yeah.
going up to what I believe it's 10 announced right now. Um, Avengers, X-Men, Marvel Voices. What are some of these other good ones? Bloodborne by Titan Comics. That looks familiar. Is that a
That's
video
ba if
game?
that's based on the video game, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you'll probably be all
Is
over that,
IDW
right?
doing a Ninja Turtles as well? Or
Yes.
is it just
Yeah.
okay.
Ninja
Yeah, there's
Turtles.
definitely a lot. It's always good. I typically pick up them that I will, which typically I'll get obviously all the gold tiers, and then I just try to get some other titles that are interesting reads, like especially if they do like a Street Fighter related thing or
You have one.
video games like the Bloodborne, um, Zelda, Legend of Zelda has been in the I think 3 out of the past 4 or 5 years. I think they did like Twilight Princess. They introduced that before it became a comic book. So there's a lot.
Yeah. Free Comic Book Day is always great. And this will actually be I mean, last year it didn't even really happen, right? It happened kind of like late in the year.
Yeah, it was like summertime.
Yeah, something like that. So this will be since COVID. So maybe it might be 2 years now. We haven't had like a legit free comic book day like it's supposed to be first Saturday in May. So
Mhm.
well, that's fun. What else do we got?
I think that's all we have for articles.
Okay. Should
So
we
of
get
course
into the currently reading?
we can definitely run into what are we currently reading before we get out of here. Shorter episode because, of course, like Zach said, we're recording this a little earlier. So CinemaCon is going on. So at least we wanted to talk about that. Saw some quick articles, but let's get into what are we currently reading. And I think you should go first because I know a title that you're probably going to pick. And if you don't pick it, at least then I can speak about it.
Okay. Well, is it the I talked about it last week, and I pretty much already said this was going to be the book I was going to talk about this week. So,
Oh, well,
it,
because I haven't got, all right. So I've only got my DC books because it's Tuesday, but I know you've
oh
gotten your other one. So,
yeah. Oh, I won't talk about.
and
Okay, so now I know which one I think you thought I was
yes.
going to talk about. I'll let you talk about that one. I only got to read a couple books. I haven't finished them all. So, but the number one book I want to talk about is obviously The Last Ronin, #5. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Last Ronin final issue showed up. Such an amazing story told over 8-month period of time with 5 books, which is super frustrating. But
Wait,
oh
wait,
wait, so
wait.
not
Not
8 months.
8 months. It's a year and a half.
Yeah, like a year and a half. Yeah, whoops. But great, amazing story. Um, you know what? I don't even want to spoil. I don't want to talk about it because I think everyone needs to read this. If you're even moderately a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, you should check this book out.
Mhm.
It was really good. I felt like it ended pretty perfectly, and honestly, it kind of ended on a cliffhanger note as well, where they said that the story's going to continue. So
Hmm.
this might not be the end of this Last Ronin little universe. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
We interested to see how it moves forward, but it was so great. Couldn't speak highly enough about this. No, obviously, the only negative was like Justin said, took a year and a half for 5 of these books to come out. But so great, so great. And then some honorable mentions. Just picked up the Knights of X #1, which kind of follows the Excalibur storyline in the new Dawn of X, Reign of X, X-Men universe here. So not too bad. I thought Excalibur was kind of the weakest title of the new era of X-Men, and Knights of X is pretty much the same. But if you liked it, if you liked Excalibur, you'll like this. It does have a fun little like take to it quest and Arthurian legend, which I'm always really down for. So that aspect of it I really enjoyed. But
Mhm.
the other books that I'm really looking forward to reading, I've got them sitting right here next to me, and I just didn't get a chance to yet, is Punisher #2. I'm excited for this Thor #750. And I'm surprisingly, I think I've talked about this before, surprisingly been really enjoying Crimson Reign by Star Wars, which I didn't think I was going to enjoy it so much after the bounty hunter storyline was so garbage, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, true.
I'm excited to read that too. But that's what I got. I know one book you're going to talk about. But what else you got
Yeah.
too?
So of course, like I said, I was only able to grab the DC stuff today. So some quick honorable mentions. We're into halfway through the series for Dark Knights of Steel. Of course, Tom Taylor and Yasmin Putri regarding the DC world back in Arthurian lore. Very Game of Thrones ish. I actually caught up on the last 2 issues because I was 2 issues behind. And I'm really enjoying the story. Of course, every issue they're always kind of introducing a new character from the DC universe, and with this issue, we get to see John Constantine. We also get to see the demon Etrigan, and if Etrigan the demon, his typical human form is Jason Blood, but in this issue is a completely different character that I didn't see coming as being the human form for
Ooh,
Etrigan the demon, but
interesting.
yeah, story is, it's still been really good. Of course, it's very Game of Thrones, so there's some things that are happening. People die. There's certain families that don't want to be involved, and I don't want to give too much away because it's only halfway through the series. So maybe once the entire series is done, I'll kind of give like a full review of all 12 issues. So if you're not picking up this series, I highly recommend it. It's going to be a 12 issue limited. So that's one of my honorable mentions. Without a doubt, just another quick honorable mention: Batman Beyond the White Knight #2. Sean Murphy is just killing this series. Like I said, when the first issue came out, I absolutely love Sean Murphy. Um, and this one is just, if you're a Batman Beyond fan and you've watched the Batman Beyond movie, you'll kind of get a lot what's going on in this issue. But so much is happening, and Sean just does a great job of just narrating it as well as doing the art for it. So, of course, that's another one of my honorable mentions. But the book that we're going to talk about, and Mr. Zach knows exactly where I'm going. Justice League 75. How is it that in one issue, Joshua Williamson can take over the writing and just completely shit on Brian Michael Bendis and
Dude.
make it such a coherent story?
Yeah,
So
you're not wrong. Except like even still, it was just so like you're right. You're completely right about Joshua Williamson in one issue, but at the same time, the fact that they put all of what just happened in one issue speaks to how shitty the end of this run really was. Like all that happened in one issue, that deserved like at least 3 issues to kind of play that out. I felt like it was super rushed a little bit.
I think because they wanted to finish at 75,
Yeah.
and I think it was kind of a late decision, and they couldn't cut off Bendis's writing because I'm sure he has his say. Obviously, bringing him over years ago from Marvel, so you don't want to piss him off to be like, hey, we're gonna cut your story short, and we're gonna go with Williamson to do this Death of the Justice League.
I
But
really wish, I know you'll disagree with me here, but I really wish if he would have shit on him, they would have killed Naomi. That would have been epic. Just to shit all over Bendis as if they killed Naomi in that
and
last
she's
issue.
not even in the issue. Like,
She
she's
shows up
in
in
it.
like the final panel, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of towards the end of she's back at like the Hall of Justice with other Justice Leaguers that are not the main ones, but of course they talk about it's the Death of the Justice League. If you read it, you'll find out who it is, and then it's kind of a prelude into the next DC event called Dark Crisis. So of
Right.
course, and I've always liked that. That's the one thing that's cool about DC is they always have this crisis as their events.
Mhm.
Like it's always been, whether it's Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like I like that. I
It's like
like
a
how they
cool theme.
always stick
Yeah.
with the title and they just kind of change it around. So uh,
What did
I'm
you
looking
think?
forward to Dark Crisis. Nothing has been announced for it, but we'll see where it goes.
What did you think? Because we talked about this on like who we thought was going to survive. Because when we first talked about this story, we knew only one member was going to survive. And I thought we called it. Actually, I know
Yeah.
one person I thought it was, and it was. Should we
Well,
speak
we
on
can't
it?
really talk about it because
Okay.
I feel like we
Yeah.
can't. I think the person, let's just say the person that was survived wasn't the person that we thought was going to survive. Right.
Yeah. I'm not surprised though with upcoming things that's the person who
keep
survived.
keep it non-spoiler.
That's non-spoiler.
All
But
right. Okay.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
yeah. I know what you're saying because there's a certain title that's coming out that we did talk about. So
right.
yeah, I hear what you're saying there. But yeah, didn't really see that. Other there's characters that we thought that were going to survive, but we're just gonna have to see what happens because, of course, like I said, this is going right into Dark Crisis. So,
I think
of course, that's my pick of the week for what are we currently reading. So,
I think
yeah, we
also
see what's gonna
just
happen.
to make that a little better, and I don't know, maybe you were reading him, but I wasn't. Were you reading the Justice League Incarnate? It's like a 6-issue miniseries.
Yes, with the whole multiverse
Okay,
Justice
because
Leaguers.
that probably would have made more sense like at the end and help that story out a little bit. So if there's someone who's wanting to read this story and they're not, I suggest probably reading that little 6-issue mini as well.
Yeah, and
So
like you said, they could have expanded this to 2 issues or 3 issues and brought in those characters, and it wouldn't have felt like it was so rushed.
right.
But again, it's still so much more coherent than Bendis is, even though yes, it's all done in one issue. I feel like it could have been like a 40 pager, compared to what it normally is.
So that's all we have for today. Like Justin said, a little bit of a shorter episode here on April 26th, Tuesday. This will be dropping on what is Friday's the 29th, April 29th. Like always, you can find us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. You can contact Justin or I on our Instagram accounts, either on Nemesis _Prime on Instagram or Milton _the_manimal on Instagram, or the Comic-Con podcast on Instagram, as well as both of our Whatnot channels on Whatnot. And yeah, what else? Any other
Well, that's it.
final signing
I don't
offs?
know what's going to happen for the weekend. If you're listening to this early enough, probably doing a Whatnot sale. Most likely, probably Saturday night is my guess. Probably be Star Wars. So, catch me on Whatnot if you're a Star Wars head, of course. But that's it. That's all I got. We're looking forward to both going to see, Doctor Strange next week, and
Oh
then
yeah.
we'll do a review as always.
Yeah, we'll have to plan out when we're gonna. I know we talked about it, but like we're back. So we're both going on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I wish if this wasn't dropping Friday, I'm going to be in Omaha, Nebraska from Wednesday to Friday, but unfortunately, no one can meet up with me because you won't be finding out till Friday, and I'll be leaving Friday. So unfortunate, but
That's like I was just going to promote my Whatnot sale for Wednesday night, but by the time people hear this,
right,
they have
exactly.
already missed my Whatnot sale.
Yeah. So if you do live in Omaha, hey, I'm in your area right now. So, but that's all I got. And thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week.